Okay, so you've probably seen the headlines. Google is placing a $10 billion bet on India's digital future. But here's the thing, this isn't just about the money. We're talking about a move that could literally rewire the internet map for the entire country. So let's break down what's really going on here. It all kicks off with this massive number, $10 billion. Now, to put that into perspective, that's roughly 88,000 crore rupees. And look, this isn't just an investment in a new building. This is the kind of capital that can fundamentally alter a country's entire technological infrastructure. And you know it's a big deal when the state's own chief minister isn't holding back. He's calling it a historic game changer, basically saying this is the biggest thing to happen since the country's major financial reforms. So yeah, the sheer scale of this is definitely meant to send a message, loud and clear. Okay, so what in the world does $10 billion actually get you? I can tell you it's a lot more than just a fancy new office building. We're talking about the real nuts and bolts, the heavy-duty hardware that's going to power India's next big leap in technology. Let's take a look inside what they call the Big Iron. What we're looking at here is what's known as a hyperscale data center cluster. You know, in simple terms, this is the Big Iron. It's the massive physical backbone you need to run an AI-powered world. I mean, when people talk about the cloud, this is where it actually lives. It's not floating up in the sky. It's in buildings like these. And when you look at the actual blueprint, you start to get a sense of the true scale. This isn't just one building. It's a whole network of 3 separate massive campuses. The power it's going to need? 1 gigawatt. That's a lot. But maybe the most important part, the real game changer here, is the connectivity. They're laying 3 brand new undersea internet cables to plug this hub straight into the global network. It's like building a new superhighway that bypasses all the old congested roads. And get this, the timeline is, well, it's incredibly ambitious. The plan is to go from signing the final papers to having the whole thing up and running in just under 3 years. For an infrastructure project this huge, that's basically moving at the speed of light. All right, this all brings up a pretty obvious question, right? Why Visakhapatnam? Of all the places on India's east coast, why plant a $10 billion flag right there? Well, the answer really boils down to 2 simple things, power and pipes. So here's the strategic genius behind it. For years, India's internet has had this major choke point. Almost all of its international data traffic had to squeeze through the west coast, mainly through Mumbai and Chennai. Think of it like a city with only one major bridge. This new hub in Visakhapatnam, it's like building a second, massive bridge on the other side of town. It gives the whole country a crucial backup, that's redundancy, and it creates a much shorter, faster connection to all the fast-growing economies in Southeast Asia. Now look, a project this huge doesn't just fall out of the sky. You don't just stumble into a $10 billion investment. It takes a very specific playbook from the government, a system that's built from the ground up to attract and actually pull off something on this massive scale. And Andhra Pradesh's playbook is all about 2 things, speed and simplicity. They've created this single desk portal and special committees, and what that does is it basically builds a machine designed to just slice right through all the usual red tape. The whole point is to get a giant company like Google from a proposal to a final green light with as little hassle as possible. Okay, but with any project this big, you always have the shiny promises, and then you have the reality on the ground. It's time for a little reality check. So let's dig into the numbers being thrown around and talk about some of the real-world challenges. So the official projection from the state is just huge. They're saying this project will support nearly 190,000 jobs every single year, both direct and indirect. I mean, that's a number that's designed to grab headlines, and it paints this incredible picture of a massive economic boom.
But yeah, that number immediately makes you go, wait a second, especially if you know anything about what a modern data center actually is.
And you see that same skepticism popping up all over the place online. You've got people who know these facilities saying, hold on, a data center might need, 200 people to maintain it? They're super automated. So for a lot of folks, the math on those job numbers, it just doesn't add up. And the questions aren't just about the jobs either. There are some serious hurdles on the ground. For one, there are reports of legal fights over the land. For another, there's the massive challenge of upgrading the power grid to handle that 1 gigawatt demand. And maybe the biggest red flag of all, Google itself, still hasn't put out a formal, official announcement about this.
So when you take all of that into account, the huge promise and the very real problems, what's the big picture? What's the real takeaway from this announcement, warts and all?
Well, here it is. Even with all the risks and all the skepticism, this is still a monumental bet. This is being seen as a once-in-a-decade shot to completely redraw India's place on the global internet map.
In the end, it's all going to come down to execution. And that leaves us with one final big question. Is Visakhapatnam about to become the AI city that everyone is dreaming of, a brand new center for innovation? Or is this going to be a cautionary tale about big promises and even bigger challenges? I guess we'll just have to wait and see.